Chapter 3, An Irregular Situation. It was a gray, gloomy, damp Saturday morning, the perfect sort of weather for testing the sogginess of breakfast cereals. Drake took a bite off sample number 27. He chewed this way, and then swallowed just so. He mused, taking a pencil out from behind his ear. He recorded his conclusions on his lab notebook. Sample number 27. Not terribly soggy, but certainly not highly crunchy. In scientific circles, the SOG measuring scale is known as the SOG factor, SF, where 1 equals terrible soggy and 10 equals highly crunchy. After rinsing out his mouth with water, Drake took a bite of sample number 28. Just then the phone rang. Doyle and Fossey, he answered. Actually, it sounded more like Doyle and Fossey. Detective Doyle, said the caller in a trembling voice, I dare say I have a highly irregular situation. Drake spat his cereal into the sink. SF determinations will have to wait. After all, this was a highly irregular situation. Who's calling? It's Mary. Mary Elizabeth Pendleton. Mary was in Drake and Nell's class at school. Mary was very simply a proper young lady. She never slouched in her chair or yelled at recess. She always wore dresses and used her lace handkerchief whenever she sneezed. Lastly, but most enjoyably, she threw charming garden parties where she served tea and crumpets while saying such witty things as, if you would be so kind, and jolly good weather, isn't it, and more tea? While every now and then reciting a lovely poem. Mary was the exact opposite of rude Sloane Westcott, and Drake felt more than a little relieved. After all, there is a limit to the number of insults a top-notch scientist can bear. What can I do for you, Miss Pendleton? Drake asked. I'm here at the Building Botanist Junior Rose Club. It would be ever so splendid if you could hurry over. Of course, I'll explain everything when you arrive. 10 minutes and counting. You have my word. Cheerio, old chap, she replied and hung up. Drake called now. Highly irregular situation at Budding Botanist Junior Rose Club, he told her. 9 minutes, 53 seconds and counting. Check. Click. Fortunately, Drake felt quite fortified after eating so much cereal. He pedaled his bike like fury, slowing down only once when he fell, crash, sploosh, into a muddy pothole. He was wearing his helmet and rain gear, and wasn't hurt a bit. Ready, Detective Doyle? Nell asked once he screeched to a stop at the Junior Rose Club. Ready, Scientist Nell, he replied. Nell helped him lock up his bike. Together they entered the double doors, dripping as they went. So kind of you to come, said Mary, shaking her hand daintily. What seems to be the trouble, Miss Pendleton? Asked Nell as they hung up their raincoats. Mary dabbed her eyes with a hanky. Perhaps it would be easier if you just come with me. As they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Drake glanced at Nell. He removed his detective kit and notebook from his backpack and shoved his pencil behind his ear. A scientist is always prepared, even in the gloomiest of weather, even in the most irregular of situations. Lead the way, Miss Pendleton. They followed Mary into a large room where a few dozen club members milled about. A banner overhead, Annual Budding Botanist Junior Rose Club Competition, prizes galore. Bouquets of roses were displayed on tables. They smelled absolutely heavenly. They looked absolutely disgusting. Great Scott, cried Drake. This is dreadful, cried Nell. Yes, Mary nodded, wiping a tear. Perfectly dreadful. See this bouquet? She pointed at the bouquet on the table beside her. The label read, Exhibit number 19, Species Angel Glory. This is my entry. Yesterday, the blossoms were stunning, pure white. Today, well, guess, they're the color of, dare I say, swamp slime. And indeed, she was right. All around the room, the roses were the nastiest of colors. Mold, barf, dirt, snot, slug, grasshopper gut, of such colors really could be called colors at all. Drake flipped open his lab notebook. When was the first discovered? He asked. At 8 o'clock this morning, when everyone arrived to set up for the show, replied Mary. Yesterday, we cut our bouquets in the greenhouse and stored them overnight in the walk-in refrigerator. When we went to fetch them this morning, well, naturally, we were all stunned. I imagine the judge will have most difficult time of it. When is the judging? Asked Nell. Mary glanced at her watch. Dearie me, in just an hour and a half. Hey, Mary, someone hollered from behind them. It was Tess O'Brien, another classmate. Tess was an earthy sort of person, at one with the universe, aligned with the planets and all that. She always wore shorts and sandals even when the weather was gloomy. Today her fingernails were might crusty around the edges, and she smelled a little like not so fresh air. Peace be with you, she sighed, giving Mary a down-to-earth hug. Sorry your roses look like swamp slime. Thank you, Tess. Why, thank you indeed, Mary replied, stepping back and smoothing her dress. Sorry about your roses as well. Tess sighed again. Must have been the water. That's what we're here to find out, said Drake. Have you noticed anything unusual? Tess shook her head. Nothing. I was the first here because I always wake up with the sunrise. Of course, the roses were already ruined. I called Mary right away. Like I said, must have been the water. After questioning Tess and Mary, Drake and Nell set to work. They pulled on surgical gloves. Snap. They took out magnifying glasses. They examined the roses. They jotted notes, drew charts, took water samples, pushed buttons on their calculators. Then, just as they completed a search of the premises, their arch enemy appeared. That's right, Frisco walked through the door.